Hey, there she goes. The
What's up?
original. What's good?
Life is
Yeah,
good.
that's what I like to hear. That's
Yeah,
the kind of vibes we need right now.
I know. I know. My phone is at like 17%, so I have it
Uh,
plugged in, so I'm like bound to my outlet.
man, you fucked up, man.
I did.
You gotta get one of
I
those
totally,
portable battery charging jammies. You know.
I might have someone somewhere, but oh well.
Oh well.
You just have to, I sit on my bed while I
So
charge.
thank you so much for agreeing to do this. Um,
Hmm.
Trying to find new ways to get everybody together and do some fun and interesting stuff. So a lot of folks are doing, different interviews and live broadcasting and what have you. And so I thought this would be a cool opportunity for us to take advantage of it and to give people a chance to ask you some questions or as direct as we could do.
Wait, hold on
Yeah.
1 second. Photo Mall just challenged. Okay, hold on.
Oh, snap. Is a tiara challenge going on? Oh, I think I'm missing something in the chat over here.
I have Sierra, but I have something
Oh,
else. Hold on.
man. I see what's going down.
All right.
Everybody's coming off the shower. Is that what the word is out here? Oh, she does the cat ears, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies. Cheers
I
to
have
that.
a Marlboro mask too, but we'll leave that one out.
Well, cheers to the cat ears, no doubt. So I don't even want to
Yeah.
start asking you my own, like, hey, how's everything going kind of questions, because I feel like then I'm being kind of greedy and taking advantage here. So I know we got a ton of people hit me in the DM, like, please ask her this. So I'm going to go into my list here
Okay.
and we'll basically take them at random, I guess. We'll try to hit 20. If there's more, if there's
Yeah.
less. Um,
Yeah. And so everybody knows, my mom made sure to text me to let me know that she was not joining.
mm.
So we don't have to like be afraid that she's going to hear something she doesn't want to
Oh, that's
hear.
some craziness. Mom Dukes would actually join, though. This is the thing she does.
My mom, yeah, my mom has joined some of my IG
That's
lives, but
dope.
yeah, she let me know that I can speak freely because she was not joining. She has a date with my stepfather to watch a movie.
Oh, wow. It's movie night at Mom Duke's crib. They do a Netflix
Yeah.
and chill. Stop it.
No.
Hey, swerving. That's so beautiful. All right.
Oh, damn, she's probably watching someone else's. Ooh, yeah, she probably is. Oof, that hurts.
Yeah, that hurts. You ready to jump? Are you ready to jump in?
Let's do
So,
this.
so for everybody who's out there who doesn't know, we're live with My Life in Yellow, who is a extraordinarily talented artist working in poetry medium, writing, canvases, murals, all kind of fly. I saw videos. I saw you drop the album. I mean, like, you're doing a lot. You're really outside, even though we're inside right now.
Yes.
So thank you again for joining us. You know, we're gonna do that hunt hopefully when this all clears up. So we'll get our street art scavenger hunt popping. And I know we also have some surprises later on. We have some poets and some MCs that are going to join us. So if folks
Yes.
want to stick around, we have some other talented people that'll jump on the live here, and should be good times. So first question, I'm going to go with the questions that we received from Photo Mall since she's outside with her tiara, and you put
Yeah.
on your cat ears for her. And she
Mm-hmm.
said she wants to know if you can share your journey into street art and poetry, and just kind of talk about, I guess, how this all started for you.
Okay. Well, I would say that the stars aligned my entire life, leading me to this moment. Like looking back, I really kind of see like how it all was lining up to bring me into street art and into poetry. Like I'd always been writing poetry. I have some really terrible poetry written in journals from like junior high school.
That's the
We should
good
probably
stuff.
dig those out.
Those are the classics.
We should. That's we should have a bad poetry night where it's like we just read our shittiest poems from like back when we were like angsty.
I don't know if anybody will pull up, but we could do it. You know what I mean?
No, but everybody can get up on stage. It'll be open mic. Everybody just shares, and it's just going to be hilarious. Anyway, so I was always writing poetry. And then as far as the street art is concerned, it all started with a Swedish gentleman named Thomas Gunnarsson, and he is the curator of Tags and Throws Instagram.
Dope.
And he was an acquaintance. I met him through a mutual friend, and he was in New York for like 3 months, walking around documenting graffiti. And so he and I just kind of instantly became dear friends. And I would just walk around the city with him while he was photographing graffiti. And he kind of would point out and started introducing me to the different tags and who they are and which ones he likes and which ones he doesn't like and why. And, you know, and it became like an educational tour.
So you were riding shotgun with a professor.
I was.
Firsthand.
I was.
Yeah, dope.
So I started to gain eyes for graffiti and street art, because like I feel like sometimes we just walk by it and we don't see it, and we ignore it. It's ugly, it's garbage, it's this, but it's actually quite beautiful if you know what you're looking for and you know who the people are. It's like this narrative that's happening on the streets.
Facts.
So I met him, became friends with him, went to India for 2 months. Came back from India, and then went to Sweden to visit, and he introduced me to All You See Is Crime in the City, and she is a street art photographer. So where he focused on tags and throws, she focused on more of the art.
And for everybody who doesn't know, like, you should be following these feeds. Like, I definitely am familiar with tags and throws, but, you know, for a while, just because the hashtag is super popular and I kind of picked it up on that trail. But if anybody's not following, go ahead and find out. So not to cut you off, go ahead.
Yeah.
So now you're with the street artist, photographer.
Yes. Oh. And so she's also Swedish, Stockholm based. And she would come and stay with me whenever she visited New York. And I was dating this guy, and it wasn't going so well. And so she's with me in New York, and she's like sitting on the bed writing up postal stickers, like writing words and writing whatever that she was going to go and slap around the city when she was walking around photographing art. And she's like, you know, I come home from work and I'm like mopey and sad, and like I'm like, oh, you know, I don't think this is going to work out, blah blah blah. And she's like, you should write some of your poems or lines from your poems on stickers. I'm like, no, that's dumb. I don't want to do that. And then she's like, no, do it. I was like, okay. And so I wrote, tell him how you feel. Because that's what I
and at the time, it was this guy that you were seeing. So you're telling yourself, come clean.
Because I needed to tell him I was over it and I was done.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing that. And so I wrote that on the sticker, and then My Life in Yellow already existed and had existed for a long time.
So was that more in terms of your poetry, and just that was your handle for that?
It was a blog, and it was a poetry. The blog doesn't exist anymore, but that's how it started. It started as a blog like in like 2010. And so I had a separate Instagram that was just poetry on it, and she wrote my Instagram on it. And she slapped it up, and somebody found it, and they tagged me in it, and then I was hooked.
And you were off to the races. You were off to the races from there.
Oh my God, yeah. And I ordered eggshells, got a box of 80, and then just went hog wild.
Wow. So this is one of my questions, right? So I know that, you know, I think you had gone to fashion school maybe in New York City. Okay. So did you have So did you throw on like a street art costume? Like, did you have a look that was like your bombing look when you were going out to throw up slaps? Or are you just like walking around in your day wear like, yo, I'm hitting the streets?
Slapping
wow.
No, for me, it wasn't like, oh, I'm doing street art. Oh, I'm tagging. Oh, I'm like, it was just me writing my thoughts and my feelings on stickers and slapping them. Like, I didn't even think about anything other than that.
Wow.
Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm doing this.
So you didn't even acknowledge that you were out there getting your vandalism on crazy.
No, I wasn't. And, like, I was respectful because I'd learned, like, you don't slap over people, you mindful, you be whatever. And so learned that and, you know, the etiquette of the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very mindful of that when I was going around. But other than that, like, I just was just slapping away and, you know, writing my thoughts and my feelings. And it was my therapy. And that's really what it was. And it wasn't for a few months until people really started to notice them even more.
So you had been out there hitting the streets, putting up the stickers for months.
Yeah.
All right, so let's stop for a second and let's give people an opportunity to ask questions, because I want to like go down my own road here, and that's not what this is about. So we answered Photo Mo's first question about your entree into the street art and the poetry and how that kind of all came to be. And then I asked you kind of, are you throwing on your street art outfit when you're out there hitting the streets? So I have a couple of other, we got one coming in hot from Cat's Coffee. Sarah, did you ever get bagged, son? Did you get caught up?
Not yet. I have not been to the police station yet.
All right, so we're going to leave that alone right there, because we don't even want to talk about that energy. Let's keep that away. Anybody else, any questions, hit us up in the chat. You can use the questions button down in the bottom to submit your questions. Right now, I'm going to segue into a question that came in from our friend Kaylin Hart.
Yay.
So I think you guys have sat around the table. I listened to a podcast that you guys did with the homies over at Sold Mag. Super dope. Like, always a great source of information about this whole thing. So how do you think the quarantine is affecting the dating game today, both pre-existing relationships and new? Wow, she's throwing out the bag early. I didn't even know what I was reading, folks. Let me let you know. This is coming straight off the text over here.
Well,
all right. Quarantine dating talk. We getting in now.
All right.
Thanks, Kaylin, for the alley-oop right there with this one.
All right, Kaylin, you owe me 2 bottles of champagne now instead of just 1.
And make sure it's champagne.
I know. She knows how
you roll.
Okay. How is dating in quarantine life? Well,
is it possible?
It's possible. I think what you have to do, it's a lot of emotional connection prior to physical connection. And so I think that, like, with the quarantine, you can't go see them per se. Like, I know there's like social distancing dates, like, you know, you stay 6 feet apart, you got your
That's a thing?
That's a thing.
All right, listen, you're breaking news over here. Social distancing day.
Social distancing day.
Wow. So did you meet this person in real life first, or you just like having a full digital interaction and engagement? You
gotta have digital first. Like, I'm
you digital first. All right.
Yeah, you gotta, you know, FaceTime, you know, get see if there's any good conversation, see if there's a virtual connection.
Filter, the digital filter is on.
Exactly. And, you know, get the lighting just right. And have a conversation. And I think it's kind of cool, because I think that in dating in New York, at least from my experience, is everybody getting drunk at the bar together, potentially going home. Not saying that's all that's happening, but like, I think we bypass the emotional aspect and go straight into the physical first. And then maybe if we feel like continuing to talk to them, then we'll maybe, you know, have feelings. But if
feelings
not, then
second.
we won't call them.
Wow. So let's talk about this. All right. So we got the new thing is the quarantine dating. It's a fact. It's a thing. Dating. The social distancing dating. All right.
Yes.
So that's how you're managing and you're coping with this dating game out here, or in here, rather.
Yeah.
Cool. That's fantastic. So I saw some things going down in the chat. So I definitely want to take a chat question. So I'm going to scroll. Boom. So this one came in from tiny.jc. How are you dealing with the performance withdrawals? So I know as a poet and getting out there in front of the crowd and doing your thing, this is a little bit different. How's that going?
I love I love getting on stage and performing, but I will say I'm kind of enjoying this like pause. I'm enjoying this opportunity to step away because I was tired. I won't lie, I was tired.
Yo, the whole world
like,
was tired though. I swear, the people were tired.
There's so many open mics, and you want to go to all of them. You want to see everybody's feature because there's so many insanely amazing poets in the scene in New York, and you want to go to all the art shows,
right.
and you want to go to, and I was burnt out.
Yeah.
I won't lie, I was burnt out, and I had actually just hosted and thrown my own event on February 22nd, like weeks prior to shutdown. And so after that, that's exhausting, like throwing an entire event. And it was impeccable. It was perfect. Nothing went wrong. And I was very tired.
Yeah. I feel you. I mean, it
tough. Was a very, very good night though, but I was very, very tired.
But that's a nice send off, right? And then you could reflect back on, you know, your last shindig and be like, yo, I killed that shit. Like, it was dope. So that's awesome.
I think I was in bed until like after 12.
Ooh, after 12? Watch out.
I know, that's right? Crazy. Normally I'm crazy.
All right, so we got 4 questions so far. So we're going to go down to the next one in the chat that came in from Death Wish Society Art. And they asked, what is your writing process for the poetry? What is the process like?
So I go out and I find someone to break my heart.
Ouch.
And then I start writing. No, I was kidding.
And then the poems just come. Oh, no.
I go out and I self-sabotage my life. And then there's so much content. No, for me, it comes and it goes. Like, I need a lot of silence to write. Like I listen to a lot like music, and then once I'm like, I feel inspired, I have to turn the music off so that it doesn't get in the way of my thoughts of words. And, you know, because then I start rhyming words or whatever to the song and not to what I'm thinking in my head. It's bad. But so I have to like be alone, and I have a roommate, and sometimes it's even hard for me to write when she's even if she's just in her room. And I write, and then I say it out loud. So as I'm writing, I'm saying it out loud to see if it has the flow for on stage. For the ones that I'm writing, that would
I was going to sneak that question in as a part B.
Oh, Ali just joined.
Do you write?
He made an incredible video for one of my performances at the Triad. Phenomenal.
Is that
on my IG?
Is that up on the page right now?
It's on IGTV. It's incredible for my poem, There Is a River.
So listen, folks, there's a lot of information coming out here. There's people you need to follow. There's a video you need to go watch. All right?
Yes.
It's going
down. My IGTV.
So I'm going to go to another question. This one came in from Christy C. NYC, the homie. How has this time affected her work and her words? Has it helped her creativity and poetry, or has her art and words helped her get through this tough time? Wow. Christy was digging in. Shout out Christy C.
I haven't been doing too much writing right now. I've been like doing more like stream of consciousness writing in a book, and not necessarily like diving in. And I wrote one poem in the beginning of quarantine, but it had nothing to do with quarantine. And for me, it's just like I've been more in a being place rather than a doing place. And I've just been observing and kind of sitting in my feelings and sitting in where I am in my life, and like asking myself questions like, when I want to reach out to somebody, why do I want to reach out? Is it because I miss them, or I want attention, or is it this, or is it that? And it's like really kind of like spending that time
to get the soul search on.
Yes, because like I talked to a psychic medium like a few weeks ago.
No way.
I sure did. What else is there?
So how did you vet this person? Since we know that you're digitally filtering out the homies, how are you vetting your medium and your psychic? And that's not going towards our question tally. I need to know that.
My roommate had met her in Denver, so she's based in her. And so she had a session with her 2 sessions prior. And I'm like, they were on a session. And I'm like, I want to do that. So I did it. And what she was telling me is like, oh my gosh, Lynn from Lancaster's laughing at me.
Everybody's having a good time. Get your wine up. Salud.
I know. I didn't get a glass of wine before I started.
We'll give you an intermission so we could get your beverage on.
Wine.
For sure.
But she was kind of talking about, and I felt this very much fully when she was saying it, where it's like, she's like, you need to let it come up within you and not be grasping for it. And I had felt like I'd been grasping for content, like, what am I going to write about? What am I going to write about? What am I going to write about? Rather than like sitting in it and letting it come from like within me. And so I feel as though I'm in this place of sitting and observing and feeling, and the writing will come from there.
It's interesting, you know, you talk about how busy you were, and then there's this juxtaposition of now you just have to be still. Right?
Correct. You know, there's a lot of, I had guilt initially thinking, because it's like, I'd always wanted more time. Like, we always want more time. And then now I have more time. And then I'm like,
now what do I do?
I'm staring at walls.
Is it only
like
10 a.m.?
Different wall every day to stare at.
Yep. All right. So let's dig in with some more questiones. Listen, if anybody has more questions in the chat, please add your questions in the chat. I saw that we had a question that came from our other friend, Catitude, and I'm going to scroll back up. Okay. What will you take from this quarantine into the future for your poems?
I think I like going back into the writing from a place of my soul rather than a place of external superficial. And then I also think that kind of like really paying attention to what bullshit doesn't matter. And what's really important. And like thinking about now that a lot of things have been stripped away, what do I miss?
Right. What's really missing? Yeah.
Right.
That's hard.
So I think that, you know, taking this quarantine and like, I've actually been doing a lot of writing separate, like stream of consciousness, and some of them have slipped into my IG, like posts, like one-liners and stuff about silence. And like just like, that's the theme that keeps coming up for me. And I'm going to keep writing different things and different perspectives about silence. And that's where I'm at right now. Like, it's inspiring this idea of like, what is silence? The good parts of silence, the bad parts of silence, like how it impacts me and how I'm embracing silence.
I don't know, man. It's tough for me. I at least need music, you know? I need some beats flowing or something going in the background typically. I would even have music on right now, but, you know, I want to be respectful of everybody out there. And I know the shit I'm listening to at the crib is probably not your cup of tea. So that's it.
I spend a lot of time in silence. Like, I love listening to music, but like, there'll be hours go by and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, wow, 3 hours by.
So folks, questions. We just did question number 7. There's plenty of opportunity for anybody who wants to dial one in. You can throw it in the chat. You can throw it in the questions down at the bottom. So I will jump into one of my questions if nobody else wants to say anything. Let's see what we got here. Have you considered having your work translated into other languages so that everybody could enjoy?
I have, and I've actually slapped in Paris.
Slapping in Paris? I mean,
slapping in Paris.
That's question. That's sus. That's borderline.
And I have a collaboration piece. I don't know if it's still up because it was illegally placed in Paris. And it was put up. It was a collaboration with Dr. Scott from Portland. And I had actually crashed a trip that he and all the Portland guys had to London.
Crashing the trip too?
So hey guys. I had gone to London. I met them all in London and like totally crashed their party in London and put up a mural in Croydon. And he and I had done this collaboration piece where he drew, it's actually great. It's like this, cause he draws like skeletons a lot. And like, it was like this skull, like skeleton laying on the ground, male, sunglasses on, cigarette in his mouth. And then it was like another female skeleton wearing yellow Louboutins.
Oh, dope.
Straddling over him.
Oh.
He sent me.
We got validation. It looks like Cat's Coffee. She spotted that collab in London.
Yes.
Certified.
And so he'd drawn that, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to write something for this?" And I wrote something called Stargazing. And so I did it about like gosh, I wish I don't have it memorized. I'll have to look it up. But it's just like two or three lines where it was just talking about anticipation of being able to have having it all but taking nothing, and just enjoying the anticipation. And it was called Stargazing. So it's like this skeleton looking up this woman's pizzazz like skirt.
And she got the yellow lubes on too.
And she got the yellow lubes on.
So you know she's getting that paper. It's not a game. Questions in the chat, anybody? I know Kaylin just threw one in the chat over here. I want to spread it around. I want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to ask their questions.
The naughty questions, Kaylin.
All right, so here we go. You got one from friend Photo Mall. Once again, she hit me with a nice little short list, so we'll pick from there. Do you embrace chaos? She owns the canvas that states "Embrace the chaos," and she's really trying. So, do you embrace the chaos?
I like to learn things the hard way. I don't know if I like to. I just tend to.
There's that.
And so, I would say, like, to compliment myself, like, something that I'm very good at is getting through the bullshit. Like, I've gone through a lot of bullshit, a lot of it self-created bullshit.
Got the filter. Your filter's on fleek.
The resiliency. And so, like, I think I have moments when, like, shit's hitting the fan, and I just have to pause for a minute and be like, okay, what am I meant to learn from this? Like clearly this is happening. Like, the universe gives you what you need to learn. I tend to keep getting the same lesson over and over again because clearly
You're not picking up.
And I see it come by, I'm like, oh God, it's this lesson again. But what? I'm still going to.
So there's acknowledgement, right? You're just not remediating no kind of actions. You just like full steam ahead.
I'm like, oh, I've seen this one before. I'm going to continue to make the bad choice.
I know I shouldn't, but I'm gonna.
So like in those moments where I'm just like, rock bottom, or, I actually haven't been rock bottom for a while. It's been
wood.
At least, I know, it's been at least 10 years since I hit rock bottom, but I'm due. And I don't know, like, nobody wants chaos. Like, it sucks. Like this chaos of, it's like a silent
This is
chaos,
a different kind of, this is a new level.
Yeah. Like, for people who are, healthcare essential workers, like, they are in actual chaos, where we're kind of like in this silent chaos. And so it's kind of just, it's like, it's different, it's weird, but I'm trying to just accept it and be like, okay, this is what it is. I can't change it. All I can do is adapt and grow from it, even though it sucks.
That's mature. That's mature. You know what I mean? And to be able to intellectualize it to that point and just say, like,
I'm occasionally mature, but I have my moments.
Give yourself more credit than that. You out here being the guru. I read your column. You had some bars in there.
Oh, my Sold magazine.
Yeah, I tell you, I did the researches.
Everybody, I used to write an advice column on Sold magazine.
It's still up there. There's about 39 or so different pieces of advice that you put together. I like the fact that I felt like each one of them was super personal, and like you did,
I always write it. Yeah.
You did some amount of thinking and time spending on their question, which is not typical, especially nowadays. I mean, maybe now that we're all sitting around, people are super mindful, but in general, I don't think society was really doing that. Listen, and I saw that this was, for a consistent amount of time as well. So props. Mm-hmm. Bravo to Jewel. Okay.
Thank you.
Deaf Voice Society art question. After reading your work, what's your definition of love? Question number 10.
Actually, I have a poem.
I wrote a poem about it.
Huh?
You wrote a poem about it.
Of course. What else is there to write about other than the love? No, but I have a line in a poem where it's like, I don't know. I feel like love is like this, and I'm quoting myself from this poem. Like, it's like an ease. It's a knowing that there is someone out there who can bring your walls down, forming softness where others left scars. And I think,
oh shit,
oh
you're
shit,
good.
and like we get wrapped up in this fairy tale love definition. And trust me, I want the fairy tale love definition. But at the end of the day, it's like, I think that it's more of like this calm and this ease. And it's just kind of like, oh, okay, there you are.
It's natural.
I feel safe. I want to see you. I want to talk to you. I want to touch you, like all of those things. But it's just like this kind of like exhale, the moment when sleep takes you and your body lets go. And that's like that's what I love is.
You're doing it. You're doing it major right now. Love it. You're going to get a wine break if you want to pour yourself a glass, and we'll give everybody an opportunity to stack up some questions. Do you need time, or do you want to keep going?
Well, I can wait, let me check my battery life. So see if I can walk away from the wall.
Check that battery life. That's critical.
I can walk away from
Yo, thanks for everybody who just
60% now. So I can walk away.
Oh, you good money. There we go. We're going to get a tour. We're going to get the selfie tour of the crib. There we go. So listen, if anybody is just joining us, we are with the homie, My Life in Yellow, and she's answering 20 questions for us tonight. Interviews being submitted directly through the chat via the DM and coming from the comments earlier from the post that we put up. She has answered 10 questions, all the way from how she started and what this is all about, down to the definition of love. And so we're really getting in deep. We're really getting a lot of good information here. Make sure you follow her if you don't follow her, and vice versa. Let's jump into this next question. You ready?
All right.
So this one coming from Mr. Candid, the homie, asks, are there any artists that you like to get up near and put your art near theirs?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think, well, I don't know if they're still in here, but like, I love slapping next to Kafka. Kafka is famous. I love slapping next to him. Because he's everywhere. I also like slapping next to Token, It's All Sticky. Because he's everywhere too. I don't know, like, obviously, like, some of my faves are always like Sack Six, Dirk Cobain, like all of my street art crushes. I like to slap next to them.
So all the legends and all the homies.
Basically all the legends.
There it is. So I'm going to pop some questions up that are coming in through the questions feature. Okay. So this is a fun one. What's your favorite music to write to, if any? I know you like the silence, but what kind of music you doing?
So I tend to not be the friend who wants to play their playlist at the party because it's all like super.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, it's like super, super sad shit. So I would say that, yeah, I like to listen to stuff that's like super emotional and just like something that evokes a feeling. I can't really say which artist, like it just, because a lot of times I just put it on Spotify and just go to town to whatever. Like
you letting the AI suggest your music for you? Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You got to curate your own playlist. We got to hook you up. So any
done a great job.
Any one particular artist or somebody you want to shout before we move to the next question?
Not really.
All right. So that was 12. We got 12 questions in so far. We're going to go back to the chat. The homie Cat's Coffee Creativity wants to know, what is Yellow drinking and why? Hey.
I know. I was about to open, but then it wasn't going well. So it's a Pat Nap. Wait, something like that. I don't know.
We got to
It
go
was
back to
white,
the
just a
fridge.
little bit of sparkle. I know, I know.
It's a
I
sparkling
gotta go
wine.
back.
You doing a sparkler?
Well, it's not. It's got a little bit of like carbonation in it, but it's not. It's not a full. But here, wait.
All right, there it is, ladies and gents. It's coming in backwards. We love it. So that was
I know.
question
Claire, I'm
number
gonna put you
12.
guys down. Put you guys
For
down
everybody
for a
who
second.
wants to know what is Yellow drinking, there it is.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite slaps of all time? Excellent question coming from Nermi7.
Mm-hmm. My favorite slaps of mine.
You know, it's open. It sounds like
Okay.
she just want to know what's your favorites, or they.
All right. Like one of my favorites, and it's tattooed on my arm, is Anything Is Possible.
You must
It'll come
like that
backwards.
one.
Anything is possible, and that's actually not in my handwriting. That's in the handwriting of Thomas from Tags and Throws. That's his handwriting.
Copy. So is it your was that your phrase or?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a pretty generic phrase. A lot of people say it, but where it came from is when I was in India, they always say everything is possible. Everything is possible. Everything is possible, and I didn't really like the grammar on that, so I changed it for myself to Anything Is Possible.
It up.
And so that's kind of where that one, and I just kind of have a reminder to myself where it's like, you know what, anything is possible. Like, I can do this. Like, you know, if I time, money, whatever, anything is possible. So I kind of use that as a reminder for you know, life. And then another one of my favorites is Once My Lover, Now My Poem. That one is a favorite of mine to write. But honestly,
that's tight. I mean, I like the way you always keep them crisp. I gotta say, you definitely have a very succinct way of expressing things that just gets right to the crux of it. Like you said a little while ago, it's like I have a good way of just getting right to it. You know,
right?
Love it.
Thing is people don't have a lot of time, or they don't want to invest a lot of time. So you got to be quick and to the point.
It's got to be tight. Definitely. You should be writing copy, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I worked in advertising for a while, but
it shows. You're killing them out here. You're doing wonderful. All right. Let's jump into some other questions. Anybody who wants to throw questions in the chat, again, we have done 13 questions so far, so we're on the countdown now to the live performance element. I saw the homie Sun Tzu joined, who's one of the artists who's going to be performing with us later on, so it's going to be an exciting thing that goes down. I'm going to go pop up the questions. We're going to go back to the homie K Hart. Creatively speaking, what has quarantine made you yearn for the most?
Creatively speaking.
Creatively speaking. Come on. This is a family show.
My mom's not on. It's not family.
You right. But we all family out here.
You know, I haven't slapped since all of this started. Like, I always have slaps with me, but I'm just like, I just don't want to touch anything.
Yeah. See, that's a real takeaway from today is like, what's going to happen to the slap vibe? Like, are you going to be feeling free to just slap it up? Or are you going to be kind of like,
yeah,
the no slap zone?
You know, I've been writing a lot of stickers lately. Just haven't slapped them up. But I think creatively speaking, like quarantine, like I've been painting. I have this one canvas.
Excellent.
Here, I'm gonna grab it.
Show us some. We want to see the exclusives. Woo!
So I like.
Yeah.
And it changes almost every day. It changes, and I basically paint whatever my mood is that day, and I just paint over it.
That was a dark day.
So, that was a dark day. It was a bad day.
I didn't want to run into you on that day. I'm glad we didn't do the interview that day.
But the thing was, it's like there was a glimmer of hope.
Right. It's just a little ray of the yellow. Oh.
There was a glimmer of hope. Dark day, but like some days I paint white over it. Some day, like it's just been my and it's not necessarily, you know, something I'm like, oh, I'm just going to put it up in a show or whatever. Like, who knows? It might go in the garbage when it's done. Who knows? But
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not an option.
You know, we'll see. We'll see how it ends up. And it's just something that I've been working on. Every time I have like an emotion I feel like I want to express, since I haven't really been inspired to write as much, I've just grabbed my paint, grab a brush, and I just like go for it.
Yeah.
On the surface.
When you're creative and you have multiple mediums or, outlets, it's nice to be able to just switch lanes.
Yeah.
You're writing a poem 1 minute, the next minute you're hitting the canvas. So, kudos to you. I like this question that's in the chat, came from Death Wish Society Art. I see a lot of people doing the one-liner stickers. Do you feel like a pioneer?
I don't think that I get credit for being a pioneer.
I don't know if that's the question. I think the question is, are you feeling like a pioneer?
I'm a pioneer.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to compliment myself knowing that there have been others that have gone before me. But I feel like maybe in this current generation of people, I do feel like a pioneer.
Right.
But I know that there's been, even like Wordsmith and everything like that. Like he was definitely a pioneer.
But I have to say the branding is unique. The combination of the color, the one-liners, the slaps, the consistency, kind of across the board. I think the brand is solid. I feel like you got to take that. You got to wear that and be like, yes, I am pioneering. Ha!
I am. I am going along the what is it? What's that video game we played when we were really? I'm dating myself.
That's right. We can go back. We talk about some games.
No, it's like that really and you would die of like dysentery or something like that. What was that?
Oh man,
it was.
See, I had more wines than you can
Somebody in my age range knows what this is.
All right. So if you know the answer to this game, folks, you can throw that in the chat.
It was something trail.
Something trail. All right, so we're gonna get some more questions flowing here. We've done 14 so far, so we're making good pace. I want to give everybody a heads up. They cut us off at about an hour on the live.
Yeah.
And so around 9 o'clock, we'll probably get cut off, and we'll pick it up again. And the second portion will be the end of our 20 questions, along with some live performances and some dope shit. So grab your wines and all that, because we're staying up till at least 9:30. All right, let me scroll the questions and pull up this next one. Oh, this is cool. Love from NYC wants to know, would you be open to having your fans submit one-liners to put on stickers?
I've never thought about that. Maybe we could, have a contest or something like that.
Listen, I thought it was an interesting question. You have to give some credit to the homie, whoever comes up with it, right? So it's kind of like, how do you finesse that? But
yeah, maybe we'll do them in a different color or something.
Ooh,
but yeah,
okay.
If people want me to write my handwriting, I'm happy to do it.
So the handwriting, it's not quite graph. It's not quite, script. It's not quite print. Have you been working on that and kind of trying to get your font right for some time? Or
it's my everyday handwriting.
That's your everyday flow.
My everyday handwriting. Like when I write notes to my boss, like call in 5 minutes, it's that handwriting.
Wow. Swagged up.
So like when I'm doing it, like maybe it gets a little bit more loopy when I'm writing like the poems, because like I write really fast, and that's kind of gives it the big and like whatever. But that is my handwriting. That is my everyday handwriting. Excellent.
So we got some more questions over here. We're going to go back to a question from Photomall. I think it's timely. We've hit 15. This is our 16th question, so we're kind of on the countdown here. Her question is, what are your inspirations? I mean, we've heard a lot of them, but...
Yes. Life is my inspiration. I would say, like, my friends are inspirations to me. I would say that, everybody I talk to, like, sometimes I'll be in a conversation with people and they'll say something and I'll write it on a sticker. Or, like, I'll be with my friends and, like, I'll pull out a sticker and they're like, what are you writing down? I'm like, don't worry about it. Like,
I'm not taking what you just said and writing it down.
Where I'm writing, but your problem's on this sticker. No. And so like, I'll be walking down the street and somebody will overhear something and I'm just like, oh, wow. Like, yeah. And like, so I feel like I'm constantly listening and absorbing, but there are times when I don't write stickers for a long time because I'm just not inspired to, and then I'll write a bajillion of them at once. But I feel like inspiration is just everywhere around me, and I don't read a lot of other people's poetry.
What?
Like I follow a lot of poets, and I read their little schnips, and like I love going and hearing everybody perform, but like I don't like I have a lot of poetry books and I'll go and I'll read them, but like I'm not necessarily like going to the archives of like the greats and really like reading up on poetry for inspiration. I kind of just sit with it, and I'm inspired by the performances I go to. There's so many, like I said earlier, so many incredible New York poets, and so they might use a word. I'm like, oh, that's a great word, and then I'm like, see how that word makes me feel, and that word might not even end up in a poem, but it like inspires. And so it's just like constantly, you know, everything that's going on around you, because you have to be present, which can be really hard.
I mean, there's so many distractions, right? So like back to the point of the stillness and just being able to kind of sit and absorb things. Have you found new inspirations or different inspirations now that you're in silence and enjoying the quiet? And that's not a new question. We're just piggybacking.
Yeah, we're piggybacking. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's still like, I guess it's more within, because there's not anybody really around me other than my roommate, and my roommate's cat.
Yeah.
Kitty.
So you got any new cat stickers? Are we gonna see a lot of cat stickers?
A lot. It'll just say meow. And that'll be Kitty's thought of the day. Meow.
All right. So let me dig into another question here. Here we go. This one is from Chrissy C NYC, who I think she's checking in now. I think she's around the block now. Was it difficult for her to put words and feelings out there on the street so publicly? How did it feel when she put up her first sticker? What were some of the first responses or reactions from her fans?
I did not slap my first sticker.
What?
All you see is Crime in the City slapped my first sticker.
Right.
Back to that original story. Like I read it, she slapped it in Soho.
So your second sticker or your first slap that you?
My first one that like I was so detached from the thought that like I didn't care. Like I'm like, you know, nobody knows who I am. Like nobody cares I kind of just like, nobody cares. Like I'm just doing this. Nobody's paying attention.
There was
like
no
I kind
thrill
of
or exhilaration when you were like,
a little bit. I definitely had moments where I would crave a spot and I would like walk by something and I'd be like, you know, like when you like the looking person walks by and you're just like,
I am the tiger.
Like, a spot that I wanted to slap at, I'd be like, ooh. Okay.
So
and then
I'd
like
trolling the spot, or you just go hit it right away, like boom, I'm getting up.
I'll depending on time of day and crowdedness.
You ever double back? You ever come back later? Like, yo, I'm coming back.
No, I usually I need the instant gratification. I'll probably like loop back right away. And like if I don't have one written, I usually always have blank ones with me. I might like pull it out and just be like.
So you just come up with a freestyle bar, like, oh, this. All right. That's the hunger right there.
That's the hunger. That's the addiction. As I know, because Sack 6 had done his whole series on street art addiction, and I have an episode.
Street art addiction is a real thing, man.
Yeah.
So we're at 17 questions. I want to encourage everybody who's out there to submit questions. I could start riffing off and fill up the last 3, but you know, you guys have been sitting out here watching, checking in with My Life in Yellow. So please, if you have questions, throw them in the chat, throw them in the questions. It looks like we're getting at about 10 minutes to 9, so be aware that we might get cut off and have to resume this back at 9 o'clock. Let me jump into the questions and see if I missed any of those. Boom. So this is a similar question to the one that was just answered, but we'll see. Do you remember the first sticker you slapped yourself? We'll clear that up, and what it said. So what is this, about 4 years, 5 years back now?
Like 5
5
years
joints,
ago.
yep.
I really only truly, because I wrote a bunch of stickers at once after I got my box of eggshells, yellow eggshells. But like the first one, that's all you see is Crime the City Slap, said, tell him how you feel. But I don't recall. I think some of the original ones were the anything is possible, once my lover, now my poem, like were like those. Or actually the one that was my, you know, going back to what my favorite one was, one of my favorites is you were the one, she was the one they least expected. She was the
one.
She was, because I'm talking about, you know, she was the one they least expected.
Dope.
And I actually have a friend, she has that tattooed down her neck.
Wow. Your friend is for life right there. If she ever try to fall out with you, you better shout her out. Like, listen, you wearing my bars on the neck.
Yo, she was there that night. She was there that night that I wrote it.
Awesome.
And the story behind it was we were out. I was newly single, and we were out, and she was trying to cheer me up because I was just in my, you know, my.
So she got a neck tattoo?
No, not that night. Not that.
Listen, girl, you in a bad mood. What if I just let's get a neck tattoo?
No, but we were sitting in like this random bar in the Lower East Side, and like these two guys came up talking to us and whatever, and like she was telling them about like, oh, she writes stickers and whatever. And he's like, write one for me, and I'm like, that's like, I hate that question, but I wrote, she's the one actually initially it said she's the one he least expected, because I was like talking about myself and my friend Lizzie to this guy, and so that was probably one of those ones where I was like, after I wrote it, I'm like, yeah, I am the one they least expect. They don't expect it to be me.
There it is. That's excellent. All right, so we got one in from the homie Super Zoo. What's the most dangerous slap you ever did? What was the most dangerous spot where you were like, yo, I gotta eat?
I don't know. Maybe I played easy. I know I've accidentally slapped in front of cops, and my friend will be like, you know there was a cop there. I'm like,
accidentally, huh?
That's
that street art addiction. It had you with the tunnel vision. It's funny. We did Uncut Art the other day, and he said the police approached him, and his excuse was, I didn't know I could.
I watched that.
He said, I didn't know I could have put my art here. Come on, you guys will say anything, man. I tell you, these artists, so wild. I didn't realize.
But well, there was this. I did a collaboration with Adine. She always did the bones and the metal pieces, and so she and I did a collaboration where she did an eye. She did eyes on this big, massive piece of metal, and I wrote. What did I write? Oh, I don't remember what I wrote on it. And we went into Freeman's Alley, and we cemented it up in Freeman's Alley, and we wanted to get it really high.
Hold on. Like, now you're talking about some serious shit. You're talking about cementing it up. You cemented it.
Yeah, like for, I don't know, some sort of epoxy, because it was metal. And so we're in Freeman's Alley, and you know, I'm tall, she's a little bit shorter, but like, so what I did was like, I got down and let her stand, like I kind of like kneeled, like, you know, you're proposing to somebody, and she like stepped up on my knee to get up even higher. It was a whole thing. Stories
and vandalism, okay? It's just too much. And then you're gonna go cement something.
And it was stolen in 5 days or less.
No shit. Somebody bagged it.
Pried that shit off. Somebody pried it off.
So let's talk about these people who run around stealing public art. What are they doing? Do you think people go up to your stickers and be like, yo, I need this shit. I'm peeling it.
I've been told that people have been able to get, I guess maybe if I didn't slap it well enough, or it was on something that peeled off. Mm-hmm. Like people are like, I had somebody admit like, oh, I took one of your stickers once, and I'm just like, okay.
I mean, you could take a picture, you know, and then you could print it out and you could look at it, but don't like ruin the shit for the whole world who if somebody might need that one day. That might be something to get somebody through the day, and your selfish ass, you went and peeled it and ripped half of it because you couldn't even get it off. Listen, stop it, people. All right, back to you. questions in the chat, anyone. We're at 18, 4 minutes left to 9. We're probably going to get cut off and have to resume again at 9 for the second half. So salute to you, Photomall. I think I did a lot of your questions so far.
Photomall is like, I had coffee with her a few weeks ago. She's the best.
She's so fresh, yo. And she does our street art trivia, and she's always a pleasure and a joy.
She probably knows more about my street art than I do.
You think? You think that's possible?
I think so.
So, like, listen. All right, so we're gonna have to ask one of her questions. Second to last, 19th question. This is fun. This is different. What is your favorite treat? I don't know. Treat. This is just like a get to know you question.
All right. So if you want to win my heart, buy me French fries.
French fries.
Fucking love French fries.
Dear God. Now,
French fries with champagne.
Is this any fries? Any fries?
You know, I'm pretty easy to win over.
Wow, French fries.
I like, okay, I would say sweet potato fries are my least favorite, but I still will eat them.
But is a sweet potato fry really a French fry though? Come on, son. Come on.
I don't know, but I fucking love I love French fries. So it's like, if you want to win my love and, you know, bat my eyelashes at you, give me a glass of champagne or Prosecco and a basket of French fries.
Oh, so Prosecco's okay. It doesn't have to be from the Champagne region. No. All right.
It can be Italian.
There it is.
Bubbly. Yeah.
Love it. So her favorite treat is French fries. For all you single fellas out there, you know, listen, you better have some bars though, because she's winning out here. All right, somebody wants more details. With what? Salt, mayo, ketchup. This is not going to count. And of course, Kaylin said mayo in all caps.
Kaylin,
get the
Kaylin
mayo.
Knows, Kaylin and I have a mayo addiction together. Right. So like whenever she's together, it's just like get out. But you know, I will say she wins. She has like this massive vat of mayo.
She got the Costco size.
It's like, you know, the Costco
she got
size.
the tub of mayo. Jeez Louise.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a guilty pleasure, and some people look at me like I'm the most disgusting thing, but I'm like, you know what? I don't care.
So we're getting that 1 minute and 32-second countdown. We're going to hold our 20th question till we resume, and we're going to give everybody time to brainstorm that shit so that when this cuts off and you come back, you can hit the chat with like, oh my God, pick my question, and then we're going to let you pick the question. So for those of you guys who don't know, this is My Life in Yellow. If you just joined, she has been sitting with us for at least an hour answering all different kinds of questions about herself, her artwork, her experience, her life, and really digging in and giving us some real dope information. We've done 19 questions so far. This is 20 questions. This is Shooter Street Art. You probably hit the button, join the live for either her or me. I'm Omar Victorious. She's My Life in Yellow. Go follow her if you don't follow her. Make sure you check out her art. The piece that I have, and like I was telling the homies the other night, I don't actually stick them. I put them in my magnet so that I can save them and I can always have them to look at. So this is the one that I picked when we met. I stopped trying to impress you because, listen, just be yourself, man. You're going to shine anyway, folks. We're on the 19-second countdown. I'm feeling airtime right now. We got street art trivia coming up on Saturday. And we have questions that have been submitted by Christy NYC and Johnny Doman. I like to say it that way. It just feels more spicy. We're on the 2, 1. See you again.